Erin, I am so happy that we get to do this. Thank you for writing this book. This is such a gift to all of us, and I can't wait to unpack it together. Hype women.
Yes, I'm so honored and grateful to be here with you, Valerie, as a sister in solidarity, writing about the patriarchy and putting it right out in front on the cover of our books. We aren't
Woohoo!
right. We aren't afraid to speak truth to power and to really ask the questions about how we want to decondition
Yeah,
from the the deep impact that the patriarchy has had on so many of us.
indeed. There is a funny story about that word patriarchy on the cover that I may or may not circle back to. I want to dive right into your process and your journey. Would you please share how the invisible became visible for you? The invisible being patriarchal imprints that we've been carrying for generations, swimming in this water, the good girl conditioning, the mean girl patterns. What was your waking up process to all that?
Woo! Um, Something happened to me when I turned 40. And I think that it was likely a combination of physiology, like my body was changing again, and I was coming into this new era of my existence. I was at that point, at the age of 40, a mother two times over. I was inside of the first company that I co-founded with two other women, which I thought was going to be a answer and an antidote to the patriarchy, but ended up being a perpetuation of it. And I think 40 was just this number that kind of woke me up to the question of like, how much longer are you going to let other people tell you what you're worth? Because you've been doing it for 20 years in your career and you've been doing it for even longer in your personal life. And what's the plan, Erin? What's the plan for the next decade? Are we going to keep doing more of this? And so I just had this phrase that came to me, Valerie, that refused to leave until I paid it the respect it was due. And that phrase was, I will no longer abandon myself in service to others. And I kept hearing it. I kept feeling it. I kept experiencing that sentiment. And every time I participated in the abandonment of myself, that phrase came back around and said, to what end? To what end are you going to continue to have a relationship with the people and the places and the programming that are holding you back? So I decided to do a bit of a life audit and to look around at my daily habits, my traditions, my rituals, my relationship with my friends, my spouse, my children, my family members, my community, my relationship with food and alcohol and movement, really just like all of these things that I mindlessly just kept repeating without considering a different way. And I asked myself, like, is it still working? And it really wasn't. It wasn't working in almost every area. Some to a more significant degree than others. But I just really started chipping away at like pulling back my power, reclaiming my time and my energy. And that meant that a large part of my life fell apart and people fell away. And many of them have not come back. Some because of my decision and some because of theirs. And what was left standing is everything and everyone in every place that deserves to be a part of where I'm headed.
Whew, I'm so feeling it in my body right now, witnessing your journey. That pain of everything coming apart. That is very real. That is not a metaphor. You use this beautiful metaphor in your book of the transformation of a caterpillar into a monarch butterfly. It's beautiful. We all love that, right? We all want to be a butterfly. But
Mhm.
the pain is so real. The pain of recognizing these patterns that are no longer serving you, that is jarring. It takes a lot of courage to say, to acknowledge that, yeah, this is not working, to do this life audit, that clarity, that is confronting.
Mm.
It's very confronting. And then the fallout in relationships and in pretty much all areas of life. I know it happened for you with your business too, with your many decisions. And so many people would have said, well, what else do you want? You have everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything you worked so hard for. Why do this? And to me, this is one of those things that is kind of a hard sell, quote unquote. Right?
Such a good
Uh,
way of putting it. It's such a good way of putting it.
yeah, like, why go on this journey? Because, like, your life was really good. You worked so hard to create what you created. What on earth compelled you? What gave you courage? What gave you that, what it took to deconstruct it all, Erin, and to keep going?
So many people, Valerie, don't do this exercise because it is hard. So I have a lot of empathy for those that say, yeah, I'm just not going to go there. I really don't need to investigate my relationship with my mother. I will see her when I see her and things will be triggering and stuff, but like I'll compartmentalize and I will just move on. And, I really don't want to think about whether or not this company that I co-founded is one I need to stay in because I gave up so much to do it and I'm already so deep in. I really don't want to think about my daily habits because like I just don't know another way of being. I get that. I did that. I continued to do that. But what I think the disconnect that started to happen for me was, yeah, all of this looks good, but it's not. It's a farce. It's a farce. So, and I had convinced myself that I also believed the thing I was selling. And so I understand that there are people who will go their entire life and inertia will be the driver. It will be the thing that determines whether or not something happens. They are the type of people who stay in a job they hate until they're fired. And that firing is a gift to many of them because they're like, I would never have left, but I should never have stayed. That is the truth. That happens to a lot of people. It happens with relationships, it happens with friendships, it happens with just like the choices that you make. But I think for me, at that point, when I turned 40, I was like 25 years of therapy deep. So,
I hear you,
so
sister.
right? And so like if you've already been doing that kind of internal work and that type of excavation, like you've laid the groundwork for the hard shit. And it's not as scary. You know that it's going to be a mess, but you also like you've developed enough courage and conviction and enough tools to navigate it. And so I think I just was like I am at a pivot point right now. I really am. I'm at a place, I'm sort of at this midlife moment where I can look back on the last 40 years and see what it was and have a lot of compassion and grace
Yeah.
for the versions of myself that I had to be to survive. I don't love everything that I did. I don't love every version of myself that I've been, but I do have compassion and I do understand why. So, like, actually, let me reframe that. I said I don't love every version. That is not true. I do. I do. Even the versions that maybe had behaviors that were self destructive or that did things that hurt other people. I know that I was doing the best that I could with the tools that I had.
Yeah.
And now I have better tools. And now I know better. And so I'm doing things differently and I'm making different choices. And I'm not allowing all of that to be like the legacy that I have to bear the burden of carrying with me. It can be a part of my history that stays there. And now I'm looking towards what is to come. So I think we just like, you get to a point where you sit with yourself and it's quiet and you say, what's the truth here? And while my ego may tell a certain story, and while that may be very enticing for others to consume, when it is not the whole truth, that living with that inauthenticity can start to feel like just such a mistrust with yourself and such a lie
Mm.
that you can't pretend anymore. And that's what happened for me.
Oh, yeah. Chills. Our stories are very similar in the timeline, also. I turned 40 like you, and that's when the download of Patriarchy Stress Disorder came in after also probably a similar amount of years in therapy and being a therapist and trying to track down the root cause of quote unquote what was wrong with me.
Ooh, that's right. Mhm. Mhm.
And so this download came in and turned out the answer was nothing. There is nothing wrong with me, but there is this deep conditioning. And research on epigenetics was coming out at that time, or I was catching up to that research at that time, showing that traumatic experiences are genetically transmitted. And surely living in the patriarchy has been traumatic for women, arguably,
Yes,
for
yes.
millennia. And so I so deeply appreciate this magical moment, that magical gateway of 40. There is something so, so special about that midlife transition. And we can look at, there are many possible theories to that. Our hormones are changing, less estrogen equals less fucks given, right?
Direct correlation.
Direct correlation,
Direct correlation.
scientific fact.
Yes, 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 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, that magical moment happened for you, that life audit, that awakening, and you feel like you had the tools. And what you said, like, really struck me, that compassion and that love that you brought on the journey for all the parts of yourself. And I feel this is crucial. I think what oftentimes holds us from embarking on this journey to reclaiming our authenticity is shame, or feeling like we've been wrong somehow, and we'll be confronted with all the ways in which we have been wrong. And patriarchy has been making women wrong forever, so that is a very, very powerful trap, a very enduring imprint there. And I feel that your book really helps to deconstruct that. And I would love to hear more from you about how you've been encountering these patterns in yourself and meeting them with compassion, right? The patterns of mean girl, the patterns of good girl, and other patterns, right, that have helped you go through this metamorphosis.
Oh yeah. It's been happening for a very long time in big and small ways. But I think that I really started to feel the tension in my late 30s in corporate America. I had become a mother now twice over. So you want to talk about having so many less fucks to give. Wow, you just don't have room for bullshit anymore. You really don't. You're just the space that you had to like make excuses for other people and to shape shift. You have less time and energy, and so you almost can't fake it anymore. So that was happening for me. And then we elected a sociopathic narcissist, um, sexual assaulter devil person, I don't even want to say his name because he doesn't fucking deserve airtime. But that happened, and I just was like, what is going on? We are, women are being silenced into the ether. And everyone is like acting like it's business as usual at work, at home, in social settings. And I'm like, I don't know. I felt like I was screaming and I was on mute. Like everyone was just kind of walking around me. And so the way that mean girls show up that is so confusing and sneaky in your career, and specifically in a corporate America infrastructure, which is fully built on the patriarchy, is that you are being given counsel and advice. That's the guise that this is under, but really it's a foot soldier to the patriarchy asking you to get back in line. And so the most senior woman in my agency, over and over and over again, when I look at the 10 years that I was there, the things, the flashbulb moments, the core memories that come to the surface for me are her telling me after I stood up for myself in a meeting when I was being talked over by a man, why do you have to be so difficult? That's not what he meant. You have to pick your battles. You don't want to be known as this difficult woman, right? This is the hallway conversation after from someone who is supposed to be a mentor, a leader. And so what that does to you when you're told those types of things over and over again, when your instinct, when your intuition came out to say, no, this is not acceptable. This behavior does not pass. I deserve better. And then someone else says to you, no, 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 you were wrong. When you're told that over and over and over again, what ends up happening is you start to believe them and you stop trusting yourself. Right? This same woman told me like you're not ready to be the boss. Like it was just like all of this stuff that was like stay where you are told. Stop trying to be bigger or more or better than what we are telling you that you are. And I listened for a long time. And I thought that that was career advice, life advice that I should take. And something happened to me, Valerie, where all of the sudden the the counsel showed itself as criticism. And it was no longer received by me as direction. It was received by me as misdirection. And I didn't need to listen to it or follow it anymore. So I started to push back in ways that they did not know what to do with me. I asked harder questions. I brought women together to talk about what our experience was. I sent emails asking for more and better and demanding to understand why we do things the way we do them. And they were just like, we don't know what to do with her anymore. And that is what eventually propelled me out of corporate America because they tried to keep me. That's the thing, Valerie, that I realize now is that I was so clearly recognizing my own damn power. And they knew they had a really, really finite amount of time to keep me. And so they offered me a huge fucking job, right? They offered me a huge job. And it was positioned to me as like the opportunity of a lifetime without any acknowledgement of like how I was actually being set up to fail. And and that experience right then, right, that was like this total sliding doors moment where I was either going to take this massive job that was on the outside looked like a huge fucking promotion. My ego fucking wanted it, right? My ego wanted to be like, yeah, what's up now, naysayers? I'm going to go take this job. No one thought I could do this. So they were feeding my ego and my ego was like kind of listening, but like my intuition was also like, why would you do that? You know that's a bad fucking choice. And then another person saw my power, saw me realizing my power, saw me potentially going and doing something, and they stripped it away again. And she redirected me to something else. So, like, there was this period of time that was happening for me then where, like, Valerie, I was always going to get to this point, but I probably would have gotten there 3 years ago. But I was being batted around inside of one of those, you know, that game where you like, you hit the things on the side, pinball? I was being pinballed around because all of them saw, fuck, she knows. She remembers. The spell is about to break. We have really, really finite amount of time because we are going to lose her and she's going to fucking leave us. And they all threw everything at me. What I didn't know was that I didn't have to accept any of their offers. I didn't know, Valerie. I didn't know. I know now. Um, and and so there's just something that happens like where this is a lesson that I've learned and I'm really trying to take in now. Sometimes when you have amazing opportunities coming to you, but they're not right for you, it is just the universe saying, think about this. What if you did this? It doesn't have to be with this person. It doesn't have to be in this place. It doesn't have to be that way. We are we are messaging this to you through this opportunity. But it's not because we think you should do that. It's because we want you to remember. So I thought I had to pick one of those two things, but really the universe was just saying you are meant for so much more.
So good. This, yeah, this brings up for me that part of my own good girl conditioning that I've recognized has been staying with the choices that were on the menu for me, the patriarchy issued menu. And the choices were, you do well at school, you just continue down this, climbing in the academia, you get a good job, you get a family, you become a mother, like et cetera, et cetera. You do good things, whatever, however they're defined. And this is something that was not okay to look outside the menu, to consider that I could order a la carte, whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yes.
And also, one of my mentors said that once, and I love that analogy. There was also the difference of licking the menu and tasting the meal. Because even though I was checking off the boxes, I was doing all the things prescribed by patriarchy, but I was not fully enjoying my experience. I was just like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? So I was holding the menu in my hands. It looked really good. I was licking it, but that
Yeah.
was about it. I was not
Yep.
getting nourishment from those accomplishments. And so, what you're saying is that a realization that you did not have to go with any of these options, but these options were awakening something in you, going, Erin, this can be so much bigger. Have you considered this? It doesn't have to be censored, not censored, but patriarchy approved. It
Right.
does not have to be issued by the patriarchy to given to you through patriarchal channels. You can create it, you can claim it, and it can be fully yours on your own terms. And this is such a huge awakening in my mind. And this is such huge bondage of good girl conditioning that you were able to see through and break out of. And I'm wondering, like, what opportunities, like on your own journey, now looking back, you can see, oh, this is where the good girl conditioning really kind of kept me in these golden handcuffs, in this gilded cage. And so that we can share with women who perhaps might recognize this sooner.
Yes. Please, right? Like there is no gatekeeping here. I don't believe in hazing. I don't need women to go through the pain that I went through to feel like I earned this. Like, and that they have to earn the badge as well. I mean, that's something that I'm sure you experienced also inside of your life is like the women who are older than us really feeling like we had to suffer too. That was just part of the deal. Even though they knew better and they had different tools to impart onto us, and the situation could be different, they were like, you have to fucking deal with what I dealt with.
Oh my God, Erin, it's so funny. Had a literal interaction when I was starting out as a therapist. I was opening my private practice in New York City, and this woman who kind of reached out to me to sort of be my mentor. So
Mhm.
I believe that was her intention. And she literally said to me, I don't think you can do this yet because you haven't suffered enough.
I mean, how can you even say that out of your mouth and then not be like, wow, that was so fucked up. Let me please go deal with this
And that
myself.
is just so indicative of about this, like, this is an accepted belief. And the woman didn't even had no idea about my history. I mean, some babies have suffered enough,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Enough, that is a terrible even way to put it, but some babies have suffered so profoundly that some of people in the middle age wouldn't even, right,
Yes.
imagine that. So it's just like, but the concept itself, right, that somebody has to suffer to earn something or to become something. Yeah, thank you for bringing this up.
I mean,
It's
it's
just,
it's so real, right? And you
yeah.
and like think about it, Valerie, it took you a half second to to reach back and identify a flashbulb moment for you of this exact experience. We all can do that. We all can go and grab those moments. And suffering is not a comparative exercise. So, so like when it's viewed that way, then like it's sort of like, well, I need my suffering to feel like it's more than your suffering, or I need you to understand my suffering so that you feel like your suffering is not as hard. Like this all of this comparative exercise. And so that hazing mentality that we grow up with and around, really, it's dished out to us from women. That's because they are the ones who actually have the unhealed hurt.
Yeah.
So they are projecting that onto us because they have not dealt with it. And now at 43, I can say that's not mine. But 10 years ago, I absorbed that and I felt that that was a direction. I was being given a direction, something that I needed to experience, to take in, to believe is truth. So so these moments of good girl conditioning, it's everything you just talked about where we have a menu with boxes that we are asked to check. Valerie, I don't think that I ever considered not getting married, having kids, buying a house, climbing the corporate ladder. Like those were things that I needed to do in order to prove that I had succeeded and that I was a worthwhile human being. And anyone that wasn't checking those boxes automatically got put into this category of like, yikes, what's happening over there? She's not getting married. What is she going to do? She's not having kids. Who's going to love her? She's not buying a house. Where is she investing? You know, all of those messages. And so when I look back now, I feel like I was a fucking zombie just walking through and participating in the menu. And while I am here now and I have a wonderful husband and I have two beautiful children, I don't know that if I gave myself the chance to make the choices exactly as I made them, that I would make them exactly as I did again. I was terrified about being single at 30. Terrified. I was on three different dating sites. I treated it like a job that needed to be won and successfully executed. When I met my husband, he was my third date that week. I put him on Friday. I thought he was the best choice, which clearly I know what I'm doing. The like Tuesday and Wednesday guys were like meh. Um, but I did it not because I was like having fun dating and getting to know people and like experiencing my single life. I did it because I was like, I need to fucking land this and fall in love and fucking get engaged and married and have that kid before I'm a geriatric pregnant woman.
It was a
Like,
project.
there's a project and a timeline. Get the job done. So I got it done. I fucking got it done and I don't even remember it. I don't remember. Um, and I think about this now. I thought about this the other day. I don't know if my husband Brian will love me saying this, but too fucking bad. I'm like, and my door is open, so he actually might be able to hear me. Um, I thought to myself, oh God, I get it now. I know why they want us to get married and have kids. Because then we're trapped. Um, Brian and I have experienced so much in the 13 years of our relationship and the 11 years of our marriage. We have gone through some really fucking hard shit. And we've had some incredibly beautiful experiences. And we have journeyed together and we've gone apart and come back together and gone apart. And there were many times where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't even know who I am. And then you have kids and you're like, well, it's just not that fucking simple. I will fucking ruin their lives if I blow my life up. And so everything becomes about the infrastructure of the life that you've created, and both the way that it is viewed by others, but also the way it is experienced by the people inside of your home. And you really do lose yourself, and you are far down on the list of the prioritized person.
Hmm.
And so I thought to myself, if we weren't married and we didn't have kids, I think that we would have grown apart because we became different people and we didn't make it a priority to like re-meet and renegotiate. And so we did actually start to make that commitment to each other. But this is the patriarchy wants this because then women they stay in things and they keep this intact. We keep the universe fucking spinning. Like this life that I've created is exactly what they want. They want it to be a two spouse, two income earning. Well, maybe they don't want women to work actually. They just want us to bake fucking pies. But and like two kids and a dog and a mortgage, and you are fucking locked in, man. You have dead weight. You have dead weight. And so I realize that that's why that's why this is the way that it is. It's the $10.9 trillion in unpaid labor. It's the abandonment of ourselves. So my message, Valerie, is not like everyone go blow up your life. No one do any of these things. That's not it. But it is the message of, okay, you're here now. Look around. What's working and what's not working? And can things be rectified in a way that looks different, that doesn't require a full incineration, but does allow a phoenix rising from the ashes?
Hmm. Ah, so powerful. Just surgically applied blade of truth that you're bringing here, Erin. Hmm. There are a couple of s- powerful concepts. The way you worded them just like seared into my brain
Mm,
that you introduced in the book. One of them being karmic crusader,
mm,
breaking those patterns, and another one being transcending duality, the
mm.
goddess, right, of non-duality. I forget how exactly you put it actually.
The goddess of your dualities. Yes.
Oh, the goddess of your dualities. That
Yes.
is so good. And yeah, I'm wondering if you could speak more to what you mean by these and why this is important, why this is part of the core message of your book and your own metamorphosis, your own journey of transformation.
Absolutely. Karmic Crusader for me was an acknowledgement that, yes, karma can be about a person getting what they deserve from a place of sort of that almost negative karmic energy. Um, they've done something that's hurtful. And so the universe makes them pay for it. Like that is one way to look at karma. But this other way is just so much more soul filling. And it's that this idea that we are making karmic deposits into one another,
Mm.
and that collective experience creates just this total abundance mindset, and it allows us to also make withdrawals, which is an important energy exchange. It cannot just be that you are depositing into other people and places. It has to be that it is also coming back to you. And so I started to pay attention to the karmic deposits coming towards me that I was not open to receiving.
Oh, so good. Yeah.
Because how often does that happen as women? That someone is trying to do something for us. Someone is trying to recognize us, to pour in, and we are like we stop it.
Hmm.
We put a wall up. No, I'm okay. I don't need it. I got this. I'm good. I don't deserve that. That's not meant for me. I can't, I'm not capable of doing that, right? All of these limiting beliefs and these negative messages that have been imprinted on our brain come through as the language that we respond to the karmic deposit with. And we shut it down. So it's as much about being able to receive this as it is being able to deposit it.
Oh, that's so good. Let me just soak that in for a moment and digest this. When my book came out in 2019, and there were all these messages of gratitude from women, thank you for naming something I've always known was there but didn't have a word for it, etc., etc. Right? And then there would be one negative message, and you can probably relate, I'm guessing, to how
Oh,
that is.
girl, yes.
I would completely disregard all the positive messages. And then later when we started working with women as clients and groups and communities, creating this transformation, all these stories of transformation, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there would be one person who is not happy with me today. And I would be like, oh, crushed. Because there was this frequency match, if you will,
Mm.
right? Of a person thinking and saying negative things about me, because that would be an exact frequency match of how deep down in my subconscious I held myself based on all these patriarchal imprints,
Hell yes.
all these karmic deposits, as you refer to them. And I love that so much that people were sending my way. I'm like, no, not home, like leave it at the door. I wouldn't even open the box, literally.
No.
I read the positive reviews through my fingers like that, like blinking and looking away. I wasn't taking it into my body. I wasn't receiving it. It took me years to start even like
Oof.
receiving it on the drip, little by little. And I love the way you're speaking about it as karmic deposits, because if we don't receive that antidote to that frequency, that something is wrong with us, we are somehow deficient or not good enough, right? That is so strong. And we need to receive that life giving antidote to those patriarchal poisons. And
Oh,
and I just want to normalize that they're not going to just come in so gracefully and gently and just flood our system, because we literally don't have the channels. The energetic channels are not yet conditioned to receive all that. It's like our energy body is not yet there to receive that. We need to build it little by little, create that safety to receive that praise. And now looking through the karmic deposits frame, thank you so much for introducing that. I'm like, yeah, the more we receive that, the more we grow this merit and the more we can give to others. And that's an easier sell for women because we know how to give.
that's right. Right. And it's like, and so what you trick women into like doing the receptive work and you say, no, you're going to be a better giver if you can do this. Okay, great. I'm on that. Like that I'm willing to do. So you, as you were talking, like I just opened my book to page 119 inside of the Karmic Crusader because there are these two lines that I think really perfectly sum up what we're talking about here. When someone tells you a beautiful truth about yourself, but you don't believe it, you think it's a lie. When someone tells you an ugly lie about yourself and you believe it, you think it's the truth. So this goes back to what we talked about, where when you're told over and over again who you are, why you're worthless, why you are not as valuable, why your instinct is wrong, when you're told that over and over again, you believe it. So that when you are told something kind, you're like, what's the fucking angle here? You
Mm.
can't receive it because you don't believe the person they're hyping exists. So everyone asks me, many people ask me, how do I be a hype woman? And I'm like, you are never going to be able to hype other women until you can hype yourself.
Ooh.
Right? You just can't. You cannot stop loathing and lusting after other women's lives until you start loving and living your own.
So good.
It is the core tenet here
Yeah.
because it will all be performative. It will all be without genuine authenticity. And and so you got to sit with yourself and say, what are the lies I've been told about me? And how much longer am I going to believe them? Because if I'm going to decide that that isn't the truth, I'm going to start to cut those strangling weeds in this garden that I'm trying to regrow. I'm going to stop feeding them and fucking watering them and giving them my energy. And instead, I'm going to tear them out to make space for what I know is beneath the surface and that wants to come through.
You got to cultivate your garden and you
You
get
have
to
to.
do that.
You have to. Because someone coming by and saying something about your garden that you are responsible for, that you have the ability to kill or to like help thrive, is just an observation. It's an opinion, and you can or can't believe it, but it doesn't change the truth about what's actually happening there. That's on you. That's your responsibility. So so that was this idea of karmic crusader, and what I talk about in the book is even my experience of like writing the book and having women who were validating me and witnessing and acknowledging my strength in writing and me going, what's the catch here? What's the catch here? Right? So we have to decide. We have to decide that we aren't going to listen to those people anymore. Okay, so that's the
Oh,
karmic crusader. And then the
yeah.
other term that you wanted me to talk about.
Duality. I wore this necklace to remember to ask you this
Oh my
question.
God. I love this so
Duality.
much. I love it, right? Our strength lies in our dualities.
Mm.
We have been told as women our whole lives, pick one. Do you want to be a successful career driven woman, or do you want to be a good mother? Pick one. Do you want to be a strong, powerful individual, or do you want to be a soft, sensitive person? There are these ends of the spectrum that we are have served up to us, and we are told you have to pick a side. And by the way, when you pick one, you have to stay there. And what I started to realize was I was never just one of these things. I was always both. And I wasn't like I was one for 5 years and then I was the other for the next five. It was like in the same 24-hour cycle where I was a career driven, successful, ambitious woman. And I was a devoted mother. And I didn't have to pick. And I think what made me realize that, Valerie, was that I was celebrated and condemned for being both.
Ooh.
So I was celebrated and condemned for being a successful, career-driven woman.
Mm.
And I was celebrated and condemned for being a devoted mother. So I got to this point where I said, and I actually did this in a little video today because it came to me, which is like, it's so interesting that this is what we're talking about. What makes you incredible to one person will make you intolerable to someone else. And so if your entire way of living is hinges upon likability and people's positive reception to a choice that you make or a part of your identity or the person that you are, you will chase everything and go nowhere. You will, in your attempt to be liked by everyone, you will be loved by no one, least of all yourself. And so I decided, like, fuck this. We get to be both. We get to be both in the same fucking sentence. And we also, it's some of it is about the way that we're seeing things. Someone might say to me, "Well, right now you're being interviewed for a podcast. You are doing work. You're not being a good mother right now." And my response would be having these conversations, speaking with powerful, incredible women like Valerie, bringing the truth out of the darkness into the light for other women to hear and receive and experience is the greatest gift that I could give to my children because it makes me a whole person so that when I am with them, they get all of me.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Erin, for this message a million times. Yes. Whew, so good. What is your vision after somebody has read your book? What do you want them to feel, to do, um, to be possible for them and the world at large?
I'm so clear on this now. Also, my husband is talking in the foyer. Let me close the door. He's so fucking loud. My children got that from him too. I mean, I guess I'm loud too, like, especially when I get excited. So we're just like a very loud house. Um, I'm so clear on this now. I don't think I was as clear on it when I wrote it, honestly. And I wasn't as clear on it even when it was going into production, but I'm clear on it now. So I want people to hear this directly from me. I am not here to tell you where to go. I am not here to tell you who to be. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I am here to invite you to ask yourself the question, is it still working? When you think about the lot of your life, your relationships, your friendships, your way of working, your rituals, your traditions, your daily habits, are they still working? If they are, great, keep doing them. But if they're not, are you ready to make a different choice? That's what my book is inviting you to consider and to witness how I did that in the hopes that it will inspire you, invite you, and make you feel supported as you do the same, because you cannot do it alone. That is the biggest lesson that I've learned. None of this can be done in a silo. None of this can be done inside of the solitary confinement of your mind. You need help. You need others. You need hype women. You need people to witness your transformation and to be there for you. Yes, to hold you accountable, but also to hold your hand when you're fucking afraid and it's hard and it falls apart. You know, who are the people that are the first people that you call when something good happens and you want to be celebrated and to celebrate with them? And who are the first people you call when it all falls apart? These are the people who are going to help you navigate this. And I believe that every woman goes through multiple metamorphoses over the course of her life. And so you will be at this point, if not now, soon. And it will happen over and over and over again. And you get to make a different choice.
Erin, thank you for this gift. Everyone, get this book. We need the antidote to the toxins of patriarchy. This is such a powerful antidote. Soak that up, share it with everyone you know, share this conversation if it spoke to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, all the hype women out there. So much love.
Thank you, Valerie.